and welcome back to this amazing podcast. And I'm here with Kat, and we're going to be talking about her shop. And I just literally cannot wait. I've got her shop in front of me and I am just absolutely obsessed because it's very pink, and I'm going to leave the link. If you're watching on YouTube, it'll be in the description. If you're listening on the podcast, it'll be around somewhere. But yeah, I just cannot wait. So Kat, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Kat, and I'm a freelance artist and cat mom, and I craft an assortment of different cat-inspired merch like earrings and home goods and such for crazy cat people like me.
I love it. I love it. I'm a crazy dog person myself, but I am all about that life where you're just like, you're a crazy cat person, a crazy dog person, a crazy snake person, a crazy bird person. Like, I love it.
Same.
So the obvious thing that has come into my mind is your name is Kat and you're a cat obsessed person, which I think, was that on purpose or was that?
No, that was actually my nickname all my life has actually been Katie. But when I went into high school, people are like, well, we're going to call you Kat because that's easier to remember. So I guess it just sort of adopted and fit. So
you just kind
now
of,
I go by that.
You just kind of rolled and just said, okay, fine. Well,
Yeah.
I like cats, so I'm not going to be mad at that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been called worse. So, so that's fine by me.
Love that. So tell us a little bit about like what you do, and I'm really interested to hear kind of like the journey of your shop. So just spill the beans.
Sure. So essentially, I've actually had an Etsy shop when I was about 18. I don't even want to think about how long ago that was, but I started it just because I was always really crafty, and I grew up in a very crafty household. My mom is more of a knitter and crocheter, but she's also dabbled in basically any type of craft you can think of. So I just sort of, whatever was lying around, I was playing with it myself. And when I was around 18, I was really into anime at the time and manga and just Japanese culture. So I would love to make like little charms and such out of clay. And my mom told me about Etsy because she would see me just crafting all day long. And she's like, you should sell those things. And I was like, okay. So I went on Etsy and it just kind of stayed there for a while. It was more like a hobby. If I sold something, great. But I was always just, drawing or crafting something, but I drew a little bit more than I crafted. So that's probably why I didn't really go to Etsy until like way, way later. But I've grown up around animals too. I grew up with cats and dogs and guinea pigs and hamsters. So that's really influenced a lot of my art over the years as an artist. And I've always just, I don't know what it is, but I just always had a thing for cats. And so, I mean, I love dogs. Like I probably won't ever have another dog again because my family dog was like the best. And there's no way I could ever replace the memories that we had with another dog. But with my cats, I don't know what it is. It's just like they're my spirit animal or something. I just have such a soft spot for them, and I've always been drawing them. I've always been making little cat heads out of clay when I was a kid, and I guess it's just something that I've always been improving upon. I mean, I always have cats as models to use, so I can just sketch my cat, who's probably in the background somewhere, even though you can't see. But yeah, she's creeping around. Yeah. So, and I guess only until recently, about maybe a year or two ago, I really wanted to do things for cat people because I'm always looking for anything cat related. If it's a cat shirt, I have to have it, especially if it's Tabby, since that's the cat that I've adopted. So I'm like Team Tabby all the way. And
love that.
Yeah. So, and that's basically how I got started. I figured, I don't see a lot of specialized cat shops for things that I'm interested in terms of it being like kind of kawaii. Or it's usually very like photogenic, like, well, if you send us a photo, we'll replicate it on a pillow. And I love those, but I feel like they're kind of everywhere. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to make what I don't see anywhere else. And, just that's pretty much where the idea came from on my side.
That's awesome though, because you are right. Like you do see a lot of And I find that you do see a lot of dog shops as well. You don't see a lot in the way of cats, and when you do, it's like in my head I've got the old-fashioned cushions with like the tassels on, like that your grandma would have, like with the cats on, like that's what I'm thinking of, whereas your shop is kind of like kawaii on steroids when it comes to cats. Like I just love it. It's so cute, and it's a different way to love cats, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I'm aiming for, because I've seen cats in like the vintage style. They're cute too, but that's for a specific type of people who like the vintage look. But what about like younger people? Because a lot of my friends are cat moms and cat enthusiasts, and we kind of have the same interests in that they're very into anime. I've kind of outgrown it a little, but I still love the style. I'm way behind on all the new animes, and I have no idea what's out anymore. But they like the cutesy stuff too. Like we have a local comic shop, and it has, the anime kawaii styles, and it's all centered around every other animal except cats. And you would think cats would be included, since, that seems to be in anime frequently, or it seems to be a thing in Japan, but, it's not really. I feel like the dog people are more popular, since, they're man's best friend. And I totally get it. My family dog was like that too. She was, the best in the world. But I feel like also a lot of people view cats through dog colored glasses, as it were. That's what Jackson Galaxy says anyway. He's like the cat daddy. And it's true. And cats aren't like dogs, and they are still great companions, but they are kind of like people. They all have their own personalities. And when a cat shows you their belly, that doesn't mean it's an invitation to rub it. That's them saying, hey, I like you and I trust you enough to show you the most vulnerable side of me. But some cats love it. Some cats are just like dogs, and they'll fetch. And I wish my cat was like that, because sometimes she wants me to play and I'll just be too tired, so I'm like, here's your mouse, and she'll look at it like, I'm not getting that. You threw it, if you can pick it up, I'm not getting it.
I've never had a dog that likes to play fetch, which sounds bizarre, but all my dogs have always been ones that you'd throw things for and they'd go, yay, just go and lie down, and then that would be that. And it's like, for a dog, right?
Yeah.
For a dog. Oh wow. So with because like now I feel like you've got such a clear idea as to who your niche is and who your people are and what style and what you like to sell. I feel like there's a backstory there. I feel like that you've tried to appeal to all the cat people, and then kind of discovered that either A, you were just like about what you make, or B, you just weren't resonating with the people that you wanted to bring in. I feel like there's a story there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, I started with because I was more of a freelance artist before I really narrowed down on wanting to focus on cats. And so again, this kind of goes back to my stomping grounds of getting into, anime and Japanese culture. And I would follow a lot of artists on various social media who would just draw their favorite characters and just make a lot of fan art. And I've attended conventions where people would do the same. And the core of my passion has always been cat stuff, but I would always make very little of that. And I feel like the reason why I wasn't very successful in those endeavors is because I was so concerned with what everybody else was doing, because everybody else was getting their followers, they were getting more sales, they were getting more interest, and we would be kind of making around the same thing, but of course our styles are different. And I'm just sitting here scratching my head and wondering, like, what am I doing so different? Like, is it because I'm not drawing certain characters, and is it because my style isn't really hitting with some people? I could not figure out what it was, and I really struggled with that. So I just, like, after I discovered your course and you started talking about, all right, well, you have to figure out the why of your business. Why are you opening up your business? And what are you passionate about? Like, what are you really wanting to do? And I'm like, cats. I want to have everything with cats in it, but like in my style, in the way that I want the world to see it, and the way I see the world, like through cats' eyes. And then it just kind of clicked. because I'm like, oh, well, no wonder I'm doing so awful, because I'm focusing on what everybody else is doing, but I don't even want to be what they're like. I don't want to have what their business is bringing in. Like, their target market is not cat people. If I'm going to be drawing anything, it should be what I want people to see, like for cat lovers. So I just had to do a complete reset on everything. And I had so many things, because over the years of going to conventions and drawing fandom after fandom, oh my gosh, that piled up, and I had to basically wipe everything out. But it felt so refreshing. It was like spring cleaning, because it was stuff that it was just sitting there. I wasn't really happy with it anyway, because I wanted to be drawing cats. I wanted to be making things for cat lovers. So it was really refreshing to finally know who my target market was and how to reach out to them. And then everything just kind of fell into place. I'm still stumbling and learning on the way, but it's good, because I'm learning, okay, what works? What am I doing that's bringing in the correct people? What are things they want to see? What are things they are saying in the forums and such that they want to see? So that's been really helpful too. But my gosh, what a journey that was. And it sounds so simple too when you think about it, but I feel like, especially as an artist or as a small business owner, you're always, it's like your first impulse is, what is everybody else doing? What am I doing? How can I top that? How can I match that? But really, you can still have the same market and share the same market, but it's just, what can you do to really stand out? And I feel like deep down at the core, we know how we can stand out, because we have that special little, that quirk. Because when we think about making our businesses, we typically want to make things that we don't really see anywhere. It's like, I really wish this store sold this. I really wish my favorite store had this in stock somewhere. I wish this existed somewhere. And so that's why we're here, to bring that to reality. We're the ones who have to bring it to the world. So I feel like that's always there. It just has to have that perspective. And my gosh, it took me a few years, but I got there.
Yeah, and you are right, and I think that especially when you first start off, you're so, what's the word, insecure with your own art, because I think part of it is, this is so easy for me to make and do, like, why would someone pay X amount, or why would someone even look at my work? And I think that a lot of people, because of that, they have this thing where they're looking every which way but ahead. And they're like checking out what this person's doing and checking out what that person's doing. And then you get this kind of diluted view of what you think your brand should look like what you've just said. Like, you end up diluting the message. And that's not to say that you can't test out things, you can't put other products in your shop, but you've got to have that stable brand first that's got that baseline of your ideal target audience. Like, you could, if you wanted to, you could do cat diaries, right? But if you were to do like dog or hamsters, or I think that's like pushing the boundaries of perhaps what your target audience is coming to you for. And I think that's where people cross that fine line, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I've actually, as I was further tweaking my brand throughout not tweaking my brand, but tweaking my store to reflect my brand throughout the course, I had actually gotten people reaching out to me asking, hey, do you do like dog earrings? Do you do any other type of animal earrings? And I'm like, no, at this time focusing on cats. But at that point I was like, okay, well, I'm getting there. People are asking if I do other types of work, because they're seeing cats. So I know I'm on the right track, but I just want to but I was like further establishing, okay, this is cats only for now. Maybe eventually down the line I could branch off and do a dog line in a separate shop. But for now, it was nice like getting those questions, because it obviously at first glance, when you go to my shop, you see cat stuff everywhere. So
I love that. I love that. And there's nothing stopping you from like having a wait list and say, right, I'm not doing it now, but if you stay in touch, like there's good stuff coming. You just got to give me some time,
Yeah, exactly.
So if any of you guys are like watching and you're thinking, I really want to branch out, but I know that I need to stay in my lane and stay in my kind of zone, then there's nothing stopping you guys from even starting, like, even if you don't want to go down the route of email, you could do like a Facebook group, you could do an Instagram account, just something to kind of get those people and keep them in your ether, I guess. Kind of like keep the zone, so you know that once you know, because then like, wow, you've got a ready-made audience of people that like your work, but that might want something slightly different that's outside of your current brand. So I mean, obviously my next question was going to be what made you fall in love with what you sell, but clearly, I mean, you just love cats, which is like, you know, and that is fantastic, because you have spoken a lot about having passion and having drive. And I think a lot of the time people often, like, they'll come into the course and say, I'm not making sales. Then like a quarter of the way through, they're like, oh, that's why, because I hate what I do. Oh, okay, that'll be it then.
Bosses, we've been having some really great conversations in today's video. However, I'm here to tell you about this. This is called your conversion rate, and I've actually made for you in the description box below a free 90-minute conversion rate masterclass. So I'm just going to quickly explain to you in 1 minute why this is important. Okay. So this is your Etsy shop and these are your customers. So let's say that you get 100 customers into your store and you have a 1% conversion rate. That means you get one sale, and roughly that's going to be about $30 to £30. But what happens when we increase that conversion rate to 2%, 3% and above? This suddenly doubles, triples, quadruples without you having to change anything. Now, getting customers into your store costs time, effort, and money. But what if you didn't have to change this, you didn't have to change your shop, all you had to change was this conversion rate? That is what I'm going to be teaching you in today's masterclass. So whether you're a newbie or a seasoned Etsy shop owner, get yourself down below and register for that masterclass so you can increase this number. Back to the video.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and like what you said, sometimes it takes to chop and crumble things to the ground to restart, to sweep it away and say, okay, this is a business that I always wanted to have, but I didn't give myself permission to have, right? Yeah.
Or you just didn't really know, because one of the biggest things that was the biggest light bulb moment was really just finding out who the target market was, because, and that kind of goes back to what we were discussing earlier when we were like, okay, well, what are you passionate about? Well, what do you want to actually make? And that really helps too, because like you were saying, a lot of people will just kind of, they'll make things that they think people want, or like they have like kind of like a murky idea of the type of people they want to reach out to. So they'll just kind of fill in the gaps on their own and be like, I think they might like this. I think people might like it if we make this for them. But if you don't have that clear view of who your target market is, or just things that you actually enjoy making, that you want to make, your shop is going to get piled up with a lot of things that just doesn't flow, and you'll go through the shop and be like, okay, that's cool, and oh, what's this? But why are these here? Why is this here? Why is this in this shop?
I think that's the danger with gift shops as well, because I went into your shop and without even scrolling, I'm like, I immediately know the kind of person, like immediately. It is so obvious, and I love that, because it's like, you're not wasting time. You're like, this is what I do. If you like it, stay for a while. Like I'm that shop that you always wish that you had. If you're not, out you go. Bye. Yeah. And it's got to be that clear. And I think that, you know, when you're starting to kind of say, oh, I see people searching for XYZ that I don't technically sell, but I'm going to start, that's the danger zone. And I think also, like with gift shops, I always say, like, having a shop where people can buy gifts is fab, but you've got to rein it in and be like, this is what I'm known for. And looking at your shop, I know what you are known for. And I think that's the clear difference.
Right.
So where did you kind of first find me and Handmade Bosses and all of that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, I actually found your channel about 1.5 years ago when I was I was like dabbling in my Etsy before I did my rebrand, because I had my shop for a very, very long time. Like I mentioned, I was like 18 when I first opened it, and it just sort of sat there. And then A few years ago, I kind of reopened and did the thing where I just put a bunch of stuff in my shop that I thought people would like, that liked the kawaii and such. And of course, it just sat there because I had no idea how the Etsy algorithm worked. And of course, it was a little different back then anyway, but nonetheless, I didn't know about proper keyword searching or anything. So when I wanted to get serious about my business, I was just searching on YouTube for like little tips and tricks on how to navigate Etsy and just anything that I might not have known about. And that's how I came across your channel, and everything that you said made so much sense. And just applying everything from the YouTube videos was already a huge benefit of improvement for my shop, even though, you know, my brand wasn't strong yet. So it would have been a lot stronger had I known that in advance. But even so, the tips that I did learn, it was like light bulb moments again, like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I think of that, even applying that to my shop before? But yeah, it's still watching. Every time a new video, like, oh, stop what I'm doing, watch.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. It always makes me really embarrassed when, I don't know why, but always like, oh, thank you. Because it's just me at home with a camera and a PC. Like when I'm actually out there and people stop me and they're like, oh, you're the girl from YouTube. I'm like, oh no, yeah, that's me. Can I just awkwardly sidestep? I promise I'm nice, like I'm not horrible, but it's the other side. Yeah, it's just really funny to me. But I'm glad that the videos were helpful and at least kind of
oh yeah,
explained a lot, and because that's the whole point, right? Like,
yeah,
if we're gonna hoard the knowledge, it's like we can all win, you know?
right, yeah.
So when did you join the academy?
I joined almost a year ago, like June of 2021. And that was the year that I finally decided to take it seriously, because up until this point, I'd never actually taken a master class for anything business related. And so this was the one thing that I'd never tried. So I just decided, you know what, it's an investment that I need to make. If I'm really serious about doing this, I want to make sure that before I even get discouraged or decide to close up shop, to make sure that I can be true to myself and just give it a good, honest go. And it was the one thing I never tried. So when I joined, I had a little mini panic attack. I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. But then just after the first video, it was all worth it. I knew I made the right decision. And even now, like my shop has blossomed beyond anything that I could have even fathomed happening. And I still have a ways to go. I'm still learning, but everything that I've learned, I'm still going back. I'm constantly going back and tweaking things from my workbook as I learn and grow. But oh my gosh, it was the best decision I've ever made for my business. And I'm just loath I didn't do it sooner.
I love that. That is amazing. Like, I love that. Yeah, because sometimes when you enroll in things, and I've done it before, when you've like enrolled in things and been like, oh no, and then you kind of get halfway through and you're like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Yeah. And I've been there. I've been there. But you know, I guess it's kind of like a bit of a testament to knowing exactly who you're trying to target it at. And that goes for us as well, you know. But yeah, no, I am really, really glad that it has helped you. And yeah, and I'd love to know, like, what is the impact that it's had on your shop?
Yeah, well, if I had to choose just one, it was probably just establishing my brand and finding out my actual target market as opposed to who I thought they were.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't realize just how much I didn't know about my own business until I started taking the course, and until you started breaking down like the stepping stones of how your business needs to come across to your target market, the type of people that you should be bringing to your shop. And again, I was like so busy comparing myself to other artists and other shops and just who shared similar styles to mine, and sitting here like, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong? Why is this not working? And once I figured out, it's because, you know, it's your brand needs to be your foundation of your business. And it wasn't. And my Etsy shop reflected that. Like, my business as a whole reflected that my brand wasn't strong. It was not built on a very firm foundation. And once I figured out, you know what, I'm a cat person. I want to make things for cats. I don't want to be those other shops. I'm not those other artists. And more importantly, I don't want to be those other shops, and I don't want to be like those other artists. So everything, all the key points from just phase one, even though like they were so simple and the work was very grueling, but I'm glad it was, because I really had to do my homework and make sure that I need to know the ins and outs of my business. I need to know who I'm targeting. I need to know how to network properly, how to reach those people, and how to build the relationships with them and push the people away who aren't meant to be in my store to begin with. So that was probably the biggest impact. And I know we touched on it, but it's just something that it's still, I can't believe I didn't think it was so simple. Like, you like cats, make stuff for cat people. Why was that so hard to figure out on your own? But you know, it's yeah, but you've like really just walked through in such a clear way. And it wasn't convoluted or anything. It was very clear, cut and dry, super simple to follow. And like I said, the workbooks that came with it, although I spent days on phase one, days. And even then I had to go back and rewrite. I had to print out multiple pages, because the first page I was like, okay, I think I'm doing this right. And then I went online, did some research. Nope, that's wrong. That's not it. That's not the message I want to send. I changed my mind.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And I think as well, like when you said about you were kind of at that point where you're thinking, I need to, you know, there's a saying that I can't remember who it's from, but it says, before you give up, you must first try. Yeah. And it's like, I think we all tend to kind of have that flip-flop stage where we're like, you know, I've got a shop, it's not really doing anything. I'll get to it, and I'll sit down one day and I'll really like work on my product pictures, or I'll work on this, or I'll work on that. And that never happens. Yeah. And then you kind of get to the point where you're like, well, it's not doing anything, so I'm just gonna like give it up. And I think it's at that point that you have the breakthrough where you're like, do I really want to just carry on the way I am now, or do I actually want to do this? And do I actually want to, you know, invest in myself and just, right, you know that before I give up, I've given it my best shot.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. So your business, what impact has it had on your life? Because I know that you've talked a lot about, you know, you were doing hobby stuff, but then when it came to your business in the beginning, you were doing stuff for others, and you weren't kind of doing stuff that you liked to do. So what impact has that had?
Oh gosh, well, it's helped me be more clear and focused. And just when I realized what I wanted to do, the importance of organization and documentation of everything just has been ingrained into my every being. So I've never even thought of keeping record of my goals or holding myself accountable for everything I do and don't do for my business. And when you're the boss, you have to be the one to make those calls and plan those plans. And just like keeping a fitness journal, how are you supposed to know what works if you haven't noted down what you've done? And I've never even thought to do that. And, you know, when I've been doing that now, and, you know, I'm still learning as I go and tweaking as need be, but overall, I'm doing far better now than when I started. So definitely, even though it doesn't seem like a huge impact, it's still been an impact enough to just be very organized and just document everything, like all the data, go by the data that comes in, and, you know who to reach out to kind of get your brand out there. And yeah, absolutely. And like the whole make decisions based on data, not just on how you feel, is just such a big thing. So many people are like, you know, I feel like this is wrong, I feel, you know, and it just ends up, you have a wobbly business, because again, you're looking at seeing what everyone else is doing, and you're like, oh, well, this person does TikTok videos twice a day, I'm going to start doing that. And then before they know it, they're doing like 50 different things they don't really want to be doing, but they feel like they should. You know? Yeah.
So obviously we've talked about your, like, the target market and stuff like that. Would you say that was the biggest takeaway that you had from the course, was the target, like, market stuff? We talked about branding, like, is that the biggest thing that you've taken out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because like I said, that was the piece I was missing, really, aside from just realizing I don't want to draw like fan art, because that's not really a way to make a marketable business, especially if everybody else is doing fan art. Not to mention that you probably shouldn't have a business surrounding fan art only, because, you know, just in the event of copyright reasons or what have you. But yeah, definitely like finding my brand's voice, and it's worth it to dedicate the time, however long it takes, to learn about, you know, what that is and what it means for you and what you enjoy doing. So definitely, that was definitely the biggest takeaway for me, because that's your foundation of your business. And it's important to know exactly what that is and how to how to properly plan and grow accordingly.
Yeah, it really, really is. And you know, like your brand is, you know, if once you're invested in a brand, you're probably gonna buy everything they do. And I think that in itself is like, you know, we're always concentrating on like, let's get more views in, let's get more people in. And you're kind of like looking at this pool over here, but you're forgetting about the pool of people that have already bought from you and who are like wanting to get invested in you, you know?
Right.
And the same with you, like you've probably got people who are like so obsessed with cats and the way that you draw them and the way that you have your brand, that they're like, oh, this thing is cute, I need to buy it now.
Yes.
So I'd love to ask, how different is your business from a year ago?
Oh my gosh, so different. If you looked at my shop back then, oh my gosh, you'd be like, what am I looking at here? Yeah, just, I mean, gosh, a year ago was definitely not as bad as 2 years ago, but a year ago, it's definitely, you can see that I was slowly finding my feet and where I wanted to go. But, you know, I had my set style that people could tell me apart from, but you can tell that if you went to my shop, you would not have any idea what this shop was for. Like, you'd be there, okay, well, this is cute. This is cute. I don't know what type of shop this is, but it has cute stuff in it. So.
Love it. And where do you see your business a year from now? I always love this question.
Yeah, so I'm actually focusing the first couple of years on just promoting my brand and connecting with my target audience, but I'd love to have a partnership or a donation system set up with my local cat shelters that, you know, that need homes, because, you know, I'm all about, at the core of my being, I love cats, and I would love to have all the cats in the house, but obviously that's not possible. So I mean, it could, but it'd be crowded and awful, and the cleaning would be horrendous. So no, thank you. One's enough. So yeah, I mean, I would love to just work with a shelter, maybe donate a portion of my profit to them, you know, as I get sales in, because I'd really love to be a part of the community of people who are helping cats get homes or getting them spayed and, you know, catch and release if the shelters are full. But that is definitely what I'd want to see my business doing in a year's time, just, you know, helping out our cat shelters however we can, and hopefully getting cats some homes.
I love that. So it's not always about, because I know some people think that when you say making a profit from your crafts, like a little bit of us goes, ugh. But yeah. I love the fact that you're making an impact as well, and that's your plan. I absolutely love that. That's amazing. I hope that you get there. You will get there, but
yes,
I love that. So what's your one piece of advice you would give to yourself if you were talking to yourself a year ago, if that makes sense?
Yeah, basically just don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Like, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. What they're doing is of no concern to yours. It's no benefit to you, what they're doing. Just focus on yourself, do what you love, and just focus on the why. Always focus on the why. Why do you feel the way you do? Why do you want to make this business? You know, and that's it. Yeah.
Why? Be like a 5-year-old to yourself.
Exactly.
Constantly ask yourself why. All the time, why?
Yes.
And my last question is, what is one crazy but true fact about you?
I'm severely allergic to cats.
Are you really?
Yeah.
How?
It just happened out of nowhere land. I grew up with them my entire life. And I guess after I adopted my cat that I have now, a year after, I thought I had some like a sinus issue, because one day I woke up and I just had constant issues with my sinuses and I had enough of it. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't wake up properly, and all day I was sneezing. And so I went to the doctor and they did all the allergy tests, and the one thing I'm severely allergic to above all else is cats. And I was so disheartened. I was like, oh no, why? But I was not going to return to the shelter, and there was no way that wasn't even an option. So I'm taking all of the medications necessary to make sure that I can build a tolerance, because you can never really eradicate an allergy, unfortunately, but you can build tolerance of it. So I'm taking the needed precautions. But yes, I am severely allergic to cats, and that makes me very sad.
I can't believe that. But thank God for meds, because at least you can keep your cat. Because I'm telling you, like, it's a crazy dog lady. If someone was like, yeah, you're extremely allergic to dogs, I'd be like, so what's your and it's not an issue, really. It's not, she says, sneezing and coughing her way.
Yeah, exactly. The first thing I did was just like bury my face and be like, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
and sneeze immediately after. Yeah, I know. I'm like, don't worry, you're still staying. You're not going anywhere. And of course she's laying there like, get off, I'm sleeping.
Yeah, like, you're making me itch, but I love the cuddle. Oh, well, thank you so much for having a chat. And seriously, guys, I mean, if you love cats, go and look at the shop. I'll leave the link. And where would you like people to find you the most? I'll leave your Etsy shop link, but like, where else would you love people to find you?
Well, I mainly frequent Instagram and YouTube. So if you guys want to see how I make my cat stuff, you can check that out on YouTube. Otherwise, I'll just be posting up either videos of my cat or things of the cat-like nature on my Instagram.
Oh, I love that. And I've just snooped on your Instagram as well. Yes, there's lots of cats. If you like cats, that's where you need to be. Well, thank you so much for coming on and having a chat. I've absolutely loved it. And for you guys watching, I hope that you have enjoyed this. Don't forget to check out the shop, because it's lovely and it's cute and it's amazing. And thank you again. And we will catch you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.